Oh. Hello. Just as I turned this on, whole bunch of birds flew up from the ground past the window, and it was kind of startling. Roll call. Yeah, those two are there. See, everybody's all excited because of the birds. And we have Kiki. And, of course, everybody over here. Okay. Oh, this? I just used this in my video for Sunday. If you can guess what song, you're not going to guess. But if you can guess what song I just filmed, put it in the comments below. Well, I'll be so impressed. I'd be so impressed. But I don't think you're ever going to guess. But I did use this in my song. Something to look forward to. It happens quick, too. So if you're looking for it on Sunday or Monday, whatever day you watch it, it happens quick. So that's a clue, too. Okay. So I have about probably 15 minutes to talk, maybe 15 minutes to a half hour, according to the note that was left for me when my parents will be back. So let's make good use of the time. First of all, how's everybody's spring coming? It is very slowly coming here. The male red-winged blackbirds just showed up a couple days ago. Those of you who don't know, males arrive first. They migrate in first, and their job is to seek out the prime real estate, the perfect nesting spot. So they look up, all the marshes and trees and wherever they like to nest, and then they practice their songs. You will hear, so if you have red-winged blackbirds around you, you will hear them singing their song a lot because they're practicing. And in a few weeks, the females will migrate, and then it's kind of like the dating game. And they will then see which male has the best song and the best nesting spot. And the one that she determines is the best, that's the one she picks. So, I think it's kind of an interesting arrangement. So, anyway, the males are back. And so are the grackles. We're not exactly, Mom calls them the piggies, because that's what they do. They show up in groups at the feeder. They throw everything out of the feeder onto the ground, and then they fly away. And it just makes a huge mess. You could fill a big feeder full of bird seed, and within minutes, it's all over the ground because they're looking for like one seed. And so they'll literally use their beak to shovel food onto the ground. And it's matting. So usually if we see a bunch of them, like at the feeder through the window, we'll go like this and make them all fly away and whatever. And so when I sat down here, there was a grackle, red-winged blackbird, and a starling all sitting at the feeder at the same time. So apparently, there must have been a whole group of them on the ground, because when I started the video, that's what flew up. Okay. Excuse me. Are we okay? Are we good? Okay. Okay, so, by the way, this has a story, but that's not the story I'm going to be telling you today. Someday. So, it's a short story, but anyway, but the story I want to tell So next week is Lent, for those of you who, know these things. So next week is Lent, Holy Week. No, wait, this is all Lent. Next week is Holy Week. Excuse me. It's been a long day. So next week is Holy Week. Next Friday is Good Friday. And so this time of year, I always think of something that happened, and that's the story that I want to tell you. Oh, we got a couple grackles just came back. Anyway, so my story takes place, I remember the year 2015. I remember that. So in my community, we have every year, there they went again, the big group. So in my community, we have an annual ecumenical Good Friday service at noon. And if you don't know, ecumenical means that basically it combines all the denominations of all the churches together into one big service. We all get along, basically. So, and then the pastors of all the churches, then they put this together. I'm going to ignore that. And then they take turns reading the story or the account of Jesus' arrest and crucifixion. And then between each pastor, then we sing a hymn like, "Were You There?" Solemn hymns, so on. And that's usually how it goes. I've been to several of these, and that's pretty much the standard. And of course, each church, the churches all take turns hosting the service. So 2015, I went, and it was at another, not our church, not my church, but at another one. And I got there a little later than I wanted to. No, I wasn't late, but later than I wanted to. And so, being unfamiliar with this church, I got there and I saw that there were 3 doors leading into the sanctuary, and I just walked to the one on the far right. I don't know why, but I did. And I was handed a program and a small blank sheet of paper. And then I went through the doors, and I found that the sanctuary looked like an auditorium. So auditorium seating. There were 3 aisles, and that sloped downward, and ended at a stage that you had to climb some stairs on the sides to get up on. Most of the seats were full. Like I said, I was a few minutes late or later than I wanted to. I like to sit up front anyway, so I just marched down the aisle. There was actually the first 2 rows were pretty empty, so I just grabbed the spot, front row on the far right. So I'm on the far right side section and sat down. And what I also saw was at each of the 3 aisles, at the end of the aisle, leaning up against the stage was, at all 3, was a cross made out of logs. And I was like, okay, this is different, but okay. And pretty soon, service started as normal. And I'd say maybe 10 minutes into the service, I heard a phone ring. Pretty normal. People they forget their phones are on. Usually they will then, shut it off right away or silence it or do something to make it stop ringing as quickly as possible. But in this case, it kept ringing. And it rang for like 3 or 4 times and then stopped. And I was like, it was kind of annoying, but, whatever. 5 minutes later, it rang again. It was somewhere behind me, but I couldn't tell. You know, you don't want to start looking around because you don't want to embarrass the person. And you really didn't know where exactly it was coming from. And again, it rang 3 or 4 times and then stopped. And it was like, you know, okay, you know, whatever. It was, like I said, a little annoying, but you know, I'm trying to stay focused on what's going on with the service. We get towards the end of the service, and the pastor who's talking, he tells everybody to write. He tells everybody to get out that little piece of paper that we were given, and write down on it some sin that we are struggling with, and write it down, and then fold the piece of paper, and then he invited everybody to come up and nail that piece of paper to the cross that was in there. And there was hammers and a big bucket or a big basket of pretty long nails sitting by the crosses. Okay, so since I was, you know, front row, I got up and I, you know, punctured my paper with the nail, grabbed the hammer, and sat back down, and then watched. And pretty soon it was just, and all 3 aisles, you know, you heard this gunk, 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 and just, you know, and just watching people, you know, they played some music and, you know, and so on. After a few minutes, somebody from my church arrived at the cross. She waved at me. She's also on praise team with me. So I waved back. And people kept filing. Finally, the last few people from on my side were 2 elderly ladies. I'm not going to use the word old. I'm going to say elderly. 2 elderly ladies hanging on to each other for, I'm assuming, balance. And they each had their piece of paper in their hands. They get up to the cross, and the one gives her paper to the other one, and she puts her nail through both of them. And I noticed she's got in her hand, her other hand, sorry. She's got in her hand, get rid of that thing, and that, a cell phone, a flip phone. She's holding in her hand a flip phone. With her other hand, she's got the nail with the paper. She puts the nail up against the tree. Her friend, the other elderly lady, picks up one of the hammers and does this. At that moment, myself and everybody around me, we could just picture what was about to happen. The guy next to me, very, very quietly under his breath, said, "Put down the phone." But I don't know why nobody intervened. I think we were just waiting to see what was going to happen. So the one lady, she's holding on to the nail. The other one picks up the hammer and bing, 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 bing. Bing, 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 bing. Now, I know from it, since I was the first one there, you really needed to whack that thing to get that nail into that log. Bing, 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 bing. Eventually, and she kept doing that, kept doing it. Finally, she must have thought she had it. She puts the hammer down. Both of them turn around. They walk about 10 feet away. The nail falls off with the paper onto the floor. Somebody else jumped up. I think it was the guy next to me. He jumped up, grabbed the nail, whacked it, got it into the tree, and sat back down. End of story? No. yeah, the next day, Saturday, I got to church for Easter rehearsal, praise team. And I got there and I saw my friend who I had seen the day before. And I asked her, did you see what happened at the cross with the two elderly ladies? She said she had not. And so I was telling her that. And she goes, this is part B of the story. She goes, well, did you hear the cell phone going off? I go, yeah, I did. I mean, that was, it wouldn't stop. And then it happened again. She goes, right. Well, that was the elderly lady's phone. Only what happened was when the phone started ringing, the elderly lady picked up her compact and tried to answer her compact, and then couldn't figure out why the phone kept ringing. And of course, this, so we had a really good laugh over that one, and well, that's the end of the story. But I think of that every year. Every year, Holy Week, that's what I think of. It's like that was like, I hate to say, but that was like the most, not most exciting. I'm going to say that was the most eventful. That was the most eventful Good Friday service I've ever been to. I was totally impressed. She even had a flip phone. So, all power to her, and I'm glad nobody got hurt. So, that's my story. And almost 17 minutes. So, I think I have videos planned for all of April. I know I've got, excuse me. Oh, there's a sneeze coming. It's from that dusty clown nose. But I know I've got an Instagram slideshow probably next week, and 2 lock screen slideshow videos, and hopefully at least 1 yum box. There's 2 yum boxes sitting there, so that should take up April, and so I'll worry about May when May arrives. We'll see. Maybe I'll just save the other yum box and then the one that comes in April for May. Yeah. Anyway. So, and I have, I'm trying to think of other things to do for Wednesdays. I've got one special one. I got an idea. And I'm going to do it. I don't know when. It's one of those things you can only do things once. So, it's like, do I do it this year? Do I wait till next year? Whatever. So, I think they're home. Minnie says they're home. Yes, they are. So, I will see you in the comments, and see you Sunday. Bye.